What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then welcome to our little corner of the internet. Today we're going to be watching a video titled Top 10 US Cities That Are Becoming More City-like. What do you mean? Top 10 US cities that are becoming more city-like? Makes no sense to me, but let's see what this video is about.
If you consume a lot of urbanism content on the various apps, you can easily be convinced that American cities are a lost cause and things are only getting worse. I don't agree with this. I think in the large scheme of things, our cities have been objectively improving for a couple decades now, but I think it's fair to say that the improvements haven't been evenly distributed. And
What? The first thing I think about when someone says a city is like New York, Chicago. Like, even if I'm living in Europe, like, if someone was like, name a city, I'd be like, New York. Like, that's the most cityest city there is.
that brings me to today's topic, which is inspired by urbanism content that was served up to me by an algorithm. Housing policy wonk and author M. Nolan Gray asks, which city has improved the most over the past 15 years? Which is obvious engagement bait, but also interesting. Like, you can't respond to the prompt without defining what constitutes an improvement. So the whole thing goes to a very core question, which is, what makes a city good? And that's subjective. For some people, having low population density and owning lots of cars because you have to drive everywhere all the time is not only preferable, it's freedom itself. But I'm guessing the people who think that way don't watch this channel because my criteria are very much the opposite. And I've got 5 criteria that I'm measuring from a baseline of 2010. 1, population density, because higher density is greener and more efficient. Don't even try to argue with me on this.
Okay.
2, changes in the proportion of low car housing.
Okay. That makes sense though. Higher density means more story buildings and stuff like that.
Households, so people having access to 0 or 1 car. I think this number reflects positive changes in the provision of sustainable transportation options in a city, and it's probably correlated with density as well. The other 3 things are related to affordability, so this is where it gets tricky, since a lot of the cities that are developing stronger urban qualities are also getting more expensive. So for housing affordability, I looked at the change in the Zillow Home Value Index since 2010, but to be fair, I want to look at prevailing incomes too, since the price of housing often goes up in places where people are making more money. So my 4th criteria is percentage increase in median household income. And I think median is super intuitive, but it isn't everything, so I want to look at the change in the Gini index since 2010. The Gini index is a measure of income inequality, and I have a whole video on it if you want a deeper dive. Okay, so I normalized all 5 of these measures on a 1 to 100 scale and combined the scores, equally weighted, nothing fancy. I ranked them top 10 style. You're gonna be surprised at some of the inclusions, and as we go through this, we'll investigate each city and try to pinpoint what went right in the last 15 years. Okay, that's enough table setting, so let's get into it. Number 10, this is a shocker to me, but it's Miami, Florida. Not shocking in terms of growing density and improvements to the urban realm in the last 15 years, but I was sure the affordability stuff I included.
I don't think I've watched like not one video on Miami, by the way. Like, I don't even know what Miami looks like, honestly.
Included in the criteria would keep a city like Miami off the list. But Miami was number 1 overall in median income growth, up over 140%, while the typical city was more like 90%, non-inflation adjusted numbers. Of course, prevailing housing prices in Miami have tripled in that time as well, so that's not good. But incredibly, just tripling in 15 years still makes Miami far from the worst. 9, not a surprising inclusion, Austin, Texas. Population density up 13%, even though the city has annexed lower density areas in the past 15 years. And the key here is Austin has been building housing, including addressing barriers like off-street parking mandates. And you might say, well, Austin still isn't nearly urban enough. The transit's not that good. It's still too car-centric. But this video is all about the delta, and between 2010 and today, the percentage of people living low car has grown from 35% to 42%. Still haven't gotten down there since I started the channel, and that's definitely an omission. 8, Madison, Wisconsin. I did look at
I wonder, like, what these cities will look like 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 500 years from now. What will the world look like then? What about 1,000 years from now? That'll be crazy. I don't even know if we're gonna get to 1,000 years from now, honestly, by the looks of it, but maybe.
cities over 250,000, suburbs included, so stay tuned to see.
Oh my goodness, if YouTube is still running 1,000 years from now, someone might see this. Are you from the 3000s? Oh my god. What is life like?
If any big suburbs show up. Madison is solid on a number of fronts, but it's really the increase in low car living, people with access to 0 or 1 car going from 38% in 2010 to 46% 15 years later. You could say maybe that's because the University of Wisconsin-Madison's enrollment went from 42,000 to 52,000 in that time frame, but that basically tracks with the city's population growth, which has been about 20% over the last 15 years. So Madison is really just becoming a denser, more urban place. 7, Boston, also a bit unexpected.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is so beautiful. Look at this scenery. Oh my goodness. I would throw up if I was there in real life. That's so pretty.
From the outside, it seems like a city that's a bit frozen in amber, but that's why you got to get out to these places. The city added population, growing by about 10%, but the city limits didn't change, so the denominator in the density calculation, exactly the same. The other thing that gets Boston on this list is it is a city with a lot of income inequality, but it's actually improved over the last 15 years, down from 0.54 to 0.52, while most of the cities in this country have been going in the wrong direction on Gini index. 6, DC. Okay, there are reasons to not be surprised DC is here. The city has done more to expand bike infrastructure and bike share than just about anywhere in the US since 2010. Transit has bounced back stronger here post-pandemic than just about anywhere else in the US. But the thing that really puts DC at number 6 is the 15-year change in prevailing home price. Housing is only up 58%, basically tracking with overall inflation, which might not seem that exciting to you, but puts DC in the top 10% of cities I looked at. Actually, if you peel this apart, the Zillow Home Value Index in the middle of 2022 was about $657,000, and that number is now down to well under 600K, and well, I guess all those Project 2025 layoffs will do that to a city. The DC housing market will probably get insane again once we get rid of this clown show, so it might be a good time to buy the dip. Number 5, Oakland, California. It might surprise you to see a California city on this list since you're constantly hearing how everything is too difficult and too expensive, and everyone is moving to Texas, but at least with Oakland, I don't know what you can say, but the indicators are just moving in the right direction. Low car households up, population density up over 10%, median income is more than doubled while the Gini index has actually come down. Yeah, housing is expensive, but not nearly as much as a lot of the other Bay Area cities, and the prices have been on a flatter trajectory, so I'm still bullish on Oakland. Number 4, Portland, Oregon, another city that's above average on every—
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm not tired, but sometimes I just start yawning, I can't stop.
Everything I measured, prevailing home prices have only doubled in the last
Oh, Portland looks so nice as well.
15 years. Kind of a bad return on investment if your primary reason for owning a home is as an investment asset, but good for everyone else. Low car living up 13%. I feel like it's actually kind of a good time to be a Portlander. Whatever hipster cachet it ever had is gone. A lot of the idiots left, and now it's mostly just people who actually care about the place and want to be
What do you mean a lot of the idiots left?
here. A bit under the radar at this point. Okay, top 3 coming up, and of course, honorable and dishonorable mentions. If I didn't mention your city in this video, or some other city that you believe belongs in this conversation, drop a note down in the comments below so people can read about it. Okay, for honorable mentions, I'm going to give you the city that scored best in each category but didn't make the overall top 10 list. For highest percentage increase in low car living, it's San Jose. Of course, when you're starting from a baseline of 17% in 2010, you've got a lot of room for improvement, but increasing to 23%, pretty good. Density, Henderson, Nevada, 25% increase from 2010, basically just infill population growth with no annexation. Is it an urbanist paradise? Not really, but sometimes you just have to embrace the struggle. Prevailing home prices, the winner is Baton Rouge, Louisiana, just a 31% increase over the last 15 years, but stay tuned. Median income, I already told you Miami was number one. The highest ranked city that didn't make this list is Tampa. Median household income's up 106% over the 15 years. And Gini Index, the city that moved the furthest in a positive direction, Phoenix, Arizona, nearly a 10% improvement. I knew there was something I liked about Phoenix. Okay, for dishonorables, I'm going to give you the worst in each category, and this one's going to kind of hurt. Median income up only 42% over the time horizon in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't even have clever things to say about this, it just makes me want to pay a visit to the volunteer state. Gini Index up 10% in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
What if they're already doing so well that they don't have to? I'm kidding. But these Memphis, I've heard a lot about. Baton Rouge, I've never heard about this one, but it looks beautiful from that, like
Worst
from
on
this
this
point of view.
list, and also the worst on population density, down 12%. It's like all the middle class
Damn.
people left, but someone who actually knows should get down in the comments and enlighten all of us. And also a double threat, San Bernardino, California, percentage of people living low car went from 24% to 18%, and prevailing home prices nearly quadrupled, going from 123K to 484K, worst on the list by both criteria. One of my core principles is that if you're paying more for housing, then you should get to pay less for transportation, but I guess that's why I don't live in San Bernardino. I'm not even in the mood to roast the Inland Empire.
Oh, it's a huge parking lot. That's it. There's parking lots everywhere. What?
The whole region is just kind of an externality of Prop
What is this place? This looks like something like out of this world. It's just parking lots.
13. Californians just don't have the choices they should. Okay, we now return you to your regularly scheduled top 10 list. Number 3, Atlanta, Georgia. I feel this one because I went to Atlanta last year. It strikes me as a city that's too busy being great to care whether it's on a YouTube top 10 list or not. Population density up 17%, and if you go there, you'll wonder if all 17% is along the Beltline. And also, Atlanta, historically a place with a lot of income disparity, but that's improving. Gini Index down from 0.57 to 0.54 over the 15 years. I've got 2 cities ahead of it on this list, but I think it's a place that will fill you with more optimism about the future of US cities than just about anywhere else. Number 2, a city I feel like I do not talk about enough, Denver, Colorado.
How do people look so good while they're running? I just said in a past video that I tried running once, and I once, like a few weeks ago, when I've never like run in my life, and I could run for less than probably 5 minutes because I was already dead. And apart from that, while I run, I look so dumb. Like I look like I look like I don't know how to run. Like I look like I just came out the womb. I don't know how to even walk yet. Like, look at her. She looks like she's like from a movie. Like
More
just,
optimism.
just pure perfection. How do you do that? I was like, with things like, falling everywhere, and my backpack was banging on my back, and my dog was pulling on me, and I did not look like that. I
about
wish.
the future of US cities than just about anywhere else. Number 2, a city I feel like I do not talk about enough, Denver, Colorado. A bit of a similar story to Atlanta. Population density up even more though, 20%. So you get some before and after street views, since I haven't been to Denver since I started this channel, which I realize is a massive omission. Also, like Atlanta, one of the minority of US cities where the Gini Index is moving in the right direction, 0.52 down to 0.49. You know, you often hear that new quote unquote luxury apartments are bringing in high income people and increasing economic inequality, but it's probably worth thinking a little harder about that whole dynamic, given both Atlanta and Denver are building lots of new housing and seeing the Gini index go down. And number one, Seattle. I sometimes get accused of being a homer because of how often Seattle shows up at number one on my lists. But first of all, I haven't lived in Seattle for like 25 years. It isn't my home. And second, you guys, the data is just the data. Like,
What is that? SLU. South Lake Union destination. Why that? It looks like a box where you could go inside, but I guess it's just a sign.
Like, if you want to make your own list where the criteria are like monster truck rallies per capita or whatever, you're free to start your own YouTube channel. But this is my list, and the big reasons Seattle is number one of America's fastest growing cities, density up over 20% in 15 years, and not unrelated, I think, the prevalence of low car living up from 44% to 53% in the same time frame. Even more absurd, the percentage of people who report access to zero cars has gone from 8.6% to 13.3%. The only other city I looked at that has comparable changes on density and low car living is Jersey City, but the increase in Gini index there is atrocious. Maybe we can get Zoran to annex Hudson County and straighten things out. In the meantime, in Seattle, there's also a new sheriff in town. You guys, I do not regret to inform you that those of us who care about livable streets and housing affordability are winning the argument. Now we just have to deliver. Increasingly, we live in a world where if you're in transportation planning, you don't have to guess where people are going, how they're getting there, and what the conditions are out on the street network. Between all the vehicles outfitted with GPS navigation systems and the fact that we're all basically walking around with location services turned on, continuously generating rich data, the information is all out there. But simply having the data isn't enough. You need the expertise and tools to understand what it all means. Transportation planners need to make sense of the enormous amounts of data, pinpoint the problem areas, and provide a way to prioritize which parts to tackle first. And all this data needs to be brought together
Nice.
in a way that's easy to understand and makes it actionable. And that's where today's sponsor, TomTom, comes in. TomTom revolutionized the personal
I'm gonna cry. I haven't talked about this either on my channel ever, but my grandfather or my grandpa passed a few years ago, or around 2 years ago, I think now, or a year and a half ago. But when I was a child, we had a TomTom in our car, or he had a TomTom. Let's say he had a TomTom in the car, and I always thought that he named it TomTom, just like I thought it was like a name, and then at some point I realized that it's a brand. But anyways, I haven't heard that since I was a child, so that is that's interesting. I didn't know it's a thing still. But I guess the rest of it is just an advert, guys. I mean, all of these cities seem great. I've seen more videos of like Chicago and Atlanta and stuff. Well, Chicago wasn't on this list, no? But the one that surprised me the most was probably Boston, because just the way it looks. Like, it looks really pretty. I was not expecting that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!